So where was the transition when, like, how did the today and the past meet? Like, where did you get to the point where it's like, hey, I can actually do this as a business? Because I know eventually along the way you got into photography, cinematography as well. So where was the point in your life when you're like, hey, I can actually start this as a business and build this up?
Um,
When did you have that light bulb moment?
that came after I left there. While I was there,
Okay.
I tried to do a little freelance just because I was getting stagnant. And I was like, I need something else. Like I'm tired of this same color palette. Like I need something
Yeah.
else. So I tried to do a little bit there. I left there in 2016. 2017, I got another job, and then 2017, I volunteered to do graphic design for this art festival called Automatic. So I did design for them, and the reason I was doing that again was because I needed like something else. Like even the new job, it kind of got stagnant too. I was like, okay, I'm tired of the same thing too. And they were actually doing like full graphic wayfinding and just large billboard signage
Okay.
in Crystal City Underground.
Mm.
So I was like, all right, they'll have like large scale prints of like my stuff. And like installations and all that. So that was cool. And I was like, all right, let me try to push this full-time thing. Not full-time thing, but let me try to push this freelance thing. Because I wasn't thinking about full-time. I was like, I still need this steady job. I was like, I can freelance. I can do both. And I remember I was going to photograph my stuff. So I was like, I need a camera. And I asked my friend to use hers. And she couldn't find a battery.
What kind of camera was it?
That she had. She might have had a Canon. I'm not sure.
Okay.
She may have had a Canon. But I asked if I could use hers. And it was a regular, probably low line DSLR. I'm not sure. I just know I needed to photograph this stuff before. Because it was stuff on the ground too. So I need to get this before people start walking on it. It was like staircase installations and all that. I was like, I gotta get this before it's like destroyed. So I just end up going to Best Buy and getting a little box kit of
with the kit lens.
And I got Canon because that's what we learned in school.
Right.
When I did like a darkroom class, they gave us Canon cameras for that.
When you get the one and you get it with the kit lens, you're thinking like, oh, I came up or something. And after a while, you're like,
yeah. I was like, oh, cool, $700. Oh, I get 2 lenses in here. All right. So
those lenses are dogs.
Terrible plastic lenses. Yeah. So I got that, and I went and shot. I think I probably had an auto. I didn't know nothing about manual and all that stuff.
That's how you start and learn.
Yeah. So I did that, and my job, that was on a Friday. My job was having their annual like walk. That was at the Epilepsy Foundation at the time. So they was having their annual walk on the mall the next day, and I ran into this girl, and she was actually doing this woman. She was actually doing photography for the event. Her and another guy, and she never met a stranger. Super personable, very sweet, and we just hit off. So I'm like, how long you been doing this? And she said about a year and a half. And that was like a nice contract. So I'm like, how'd you get this contract? And she was like, oh, I was taking classes.
Hold on, she said she's only been on for a year and a half?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's not her. That wasn't her full time, but it's like, you got this. It's like, I know how much that contract was for. So it's like, oh, you got this after a year and a half of starting? So she told me about these classes. And she said, yeah, super reasonable. This guy, he's been doing it for years. And she was like, he's done like celebrity work and stuff. She was like, but he teaches. Courses are like $125. At that time, I was, again, like looking for something else. Like I needed another outlet. And I was like, all right. I was even considering going back to school. And then I opted out of that because like more student loans. And I was like, that's not what I'm going to do. So I started the classes. I think the classes was starting like a month, not even a month later, like 2 weeks later. I was like, all right. So started the classes. With Daryl Todd.
Yep.
And
you still do a lot of work with Daryl, right?
Yeah, I was partner. Looking at your site. Yeah, I do. I partner with him on pretty much like most of my stuff. Um, so I picked it up quick. I went to school, and then it's always been ingrained in me since I was little. So I picked it up really quick. Took his second course because his second course is like mainly lighting.
Okay.
So it's a lot of studio lighting, natural lighting. The first course gives you the foundation. So that's when you learn exposure triangle, composition. So a lot of that stuff, I kind of like composition. Not really feeds into graphic design, but same stuff. White space, negative space. Same concepts, just a different medium. So it was very easy for me to just like pick up on it.
Yeah, it's natural.
Yeah. And he found out I could edit. So he at that time didn't have like a full on video person on his team. Like he had like he has partners, so he had probably at that time maybe 4 photography partners, but he didn't have a go-to video person. He had a few he would outsource to, but not a lot. So he had like old footage because when he does like destination weddings, he would still shoot video too.
So he would shoot video while he was doing photography.
The photo. Wow. Yeah, just to have like separate stuff, or he'll have like a GoPro footage, stuff like that. So he was like, "Oh, I did this wedding in Seychelles." And I remember he did that when we had class. And he was like, "You think you can like cut a video?" So all right. So I cut something, and he was like, "I want them to buy it, so don't show too much, just like a little snippet." So like the girl saw it, and she was like, "Oh, I want to buy that." She was like, "I want like the full thing."
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. So I cut his footage. So that was like my first time working with video. Because remember I told you like the editing, I didn't work with video. So that was my first time working with video.
So this was your crash course into it.
At that time, so I didn't have Final Cut, so I was using Premiere.
Okay.
So I knew like they pretty much the same. So I was like, all right. So I put in Premiere.
Which one do you prefer?
Right now it's Premiere just because I've been using that a lot more now. Final Cut, I don't think I have that on my computer anymore. Okay. But of course I would know how to use it if it was like there. But
so you're not one of the person that's like, no, it's gotta be it's either it's Final Cut. Like you're not what's the word? I'm drawing a blank right now. You're not loyal to one or the other.
No,
it's just
I think
more so because of that was what was available at the time.
Yeah, I think right now I'm loyal to Adobe products.
Okay, because there's a lot of people out like creatives out there that's like loyal to one or the other. And then they also knock you if you're like you use Premiere, that's so Stone Age, and then vice versa. You still using Final Cut, so
yeah. No, I use Adobe products because like graphic design, everything is there. So for me, it made sense. If I wasn't doing everything else, I'm not sure what I would use, but because I'm doing everything else, is Premiere. It's Premiere for sure. It's in my package, so that's what I'm gonna use. So they wanted to buy it, cut it. He gave me some money from it. He was like, "All right, cool." So he taught me how to shoot video. Okay. From there, as far as and then everything else was like YouTube. I've like looked up stuff.
It's free.
It's not yeah, and it's not
university.
It's not too far from photography.
Right.
It's not that much of a difference. So the pieces he didn't know I was able to learn, but he like
because you had already had the foundation from photography and all that, so it made it easy for you to slide right in doing video.
Yeah, so for me it was now just like what frame rate do I use, making sure the shutter stays where it's supposed to stay, and then just like stuff like that. And then the more I shot, the more I edited, the better shooter I became.
Really? So the more
you edit,
that sounds backwards to me.
No, because when I'm editing, I'm like, shit, I didn't get this.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I didn't get this, or
you're making mental notes of
what is this trash angle? So it's like,
okay.
So that made me a better shooter. So the more I edited,
or maybe you like, I don't think I had enough B-roll or something like that. Okay.
So that just made me shoot better, or like this looks horrible. I need to bump up the ISO on this, or I should have gone more deeper depth of field here.